If you're a Cleveland Browns fan looking for a break from the emotional roller coaster that is the price we pay from loving then hating our Browns, then a big welcome to Cleveland Browns Anonymous, a group therapy podcast to help you survive the season. So let's start our meeting.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike and Brook with a much-needed meeting of Cleveland Browns Anonymous. Brook, I think Sunday's game was kind of rock bottom. I kind of kept hoping, hey.
And you saw the score, you're like, they're still in this.
Yeah.
But 9 points felt like 30.
Yeah. There's something wrong, which is why the title of this podcast episode is The Definition of Insanity and Why Kevin Stefanski Needs to Go. Now, I've been holding my fire.
You're at that point now.
But I am really, he has got to go. And I'm going to start ticking off reasons. So, and I should add, at the end of this, we're going to talk a little bit about Bill Belichick, another coaching thing. But let's kind of talk about Joe Flacco and Cincy and Lamar Chase. And I want to point out a few things. Lamar Chase, did I pronounce that right?
Jamar Chase.
I'm sorry. Thinking of the Cavs. Jamar Chase did not drop the ball, right? And guess what else, Jamar Chase? He didn't have a whole lot of separation in a lot of catches. I saw him. The guy was draped all over him, and he still caught the ball. Now, if you play for Kevin Stefanski's offense, if you drop the ball, you keep playing. If you have a legal penalty, what was the one that Judy did?
Personal foul.
Personal foul, cost you 15 yards, you still keep playing. If you jump off sides or illegal motion with your left tackle 2-3 times, you keep playing. And you know what you keep hearing at the post-com? We got to coach better. I got to coach better. This team's got to coach. You know what? That is the definition of insanity. When you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect to change. Why Judy is starting is a mystery to me. He drops the ball. He has dumb penalties. Meanwhile, we got guys on the bench who I can assure you will at least try to catch the ball. And it's not like Judy's wide open. So I don't understand what the difference is. But to Kevin Stefanski, you're talking about a guy who is constantly coaching the same way. I'm going to get into details, but I'll flip it over to you, Brook.
Rookie quarterback in Pittsburgh, and you have him throw the ball 58 times. 58 times.
We're going to lose anyways. Now you run the risk of the guy's going to get hurt, right?
I don't understand that. And you got a good running back. And I don't want to hear, well, the Steelers defense were prepping for the run. Well, you know what? You keep pounding it until they break. The score was low already. I don't understand why. So I think like the game plan was a disaster. And at that point, I think I turned it off and I took my son for a jog when they were at the 1 yard line with Dylan Gabriel, and there was a pass. Then there was a sack for a loss of, I think, 11, and then another pass. And I was just like, you've got Quinshon Judkins at the 1 yard line.
You got Aiden Huntington.
Just pound the fucking ball in the end zone. So I think this whole thing is like, I think the defense is good. I think the special teams is a joke. I think the offense is a joke. And I heard something funny on the radio this morning. And plus, too, I've avoided two of my favorite sports podcasts. I have this routine on Mondays where I go for a walk with my dogs and my son, and I listen to Bill Simmons, his Sunday night one. Goes and sell. And then on my drive in to drop my son off at daycare, I listen to this other one. Both headlines had Baker Mayfield MVP. And I was like, you know what? I am like, I am this close to being like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I'm not done because I'm a Browns fan, but it's just really depressing. It is so painful to watch your team. And let's be honest, Pittsburgh, they were bullying the shit out of us. They were throwing us around like rag dolls. So I don't have too much of a problem with Jerry Jeudy getting in someone's face. I really don't. What I can't stand for is the drop passes. What I can't stand for is the horrible play calling. And you know what? With Baker, it is what it is. He's doing great. You know, a lot of people say, yeah, you know, hey, Brook, he was never going to work out here.
Like Joe Flacco, who had a good game on the road in Green Bay. But I hear you, Brook.
It was a bleak day.
It was when you're passing 58 times and it's not working.
58 times.
58 times. It's not,
in Pittsburgh,
right,
where a rookie quarterback has not won. We haven't won in Pittsburgh regular season. 22 games.
Right.
And you're asking a third-round pick rookie to throw it to wide receivers who drop the ball.
Well, you look at, I remember one of the, I think it was Pat Shurmur, the long list of incompetent head coaches, one and done, Mike Pettin,
Hugh Jackson.
Oh my God, Hugh Jackson, Romeo. I mean, the list is endless. Just terrible coaching.
Right.
And I remember, I think it was Colt McCoy in Pittsburgh. Gets got knocked unconscious.
Rocked by James Harris.
As Pat Shurmur kept him in. You know what? He's like that guy in Ghostbusters, Egon. He's seeing the ghost with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and he's looking at his little handheld radar thing. Right? And then what makes it worse, the fingernails on the chalkboard, is we've got to listen to Kevin Stefanski's post-game presser. Why are you passing 58 times? He's getting massacred back there. Why aren't you chip blocking? You know what? This is why Stefanski needs to go. It's not just a change in a quarterback. It's a change in a head coach. It's a change in attitude.
Yeah.
It's attitude. You're playing not to lose.
Yep.
And you're blaming, we've got a rookie quarterback. I mean, we've got an O-line that's hurt. Hey, Kevin O'Connell's O-line was hurt with the Vikings, right? And the Browns are supposed to just run wild on Carson Wentz. But guess what Kevin O'Connell did? He had 8 guys blocking. I mean, if I was the coach, I would put Aiden Huntington in the backfield.
Just to block.
His one job is to murder TJ Watt. I want you smacking that guy every time he crosses the line of scrimmage. I don't care if we gain 1 yard, 2 yards.
You know who would do that? Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
That's who the Browns needed.
Dan Campbell.
They don't need a young offensive whiz. They don't need some rah-rah defensive guru. They need someone who's going to come in here and change the fucking culture.
Well, look at Kevin did the same thing with Baker. I've said this on many podcasts. It reached its low point in the Detroit game. Rainy, cold, and he made Baker play. Bad shoulder, bad head. He made Baker play instead of putting in Case Keenum. Finally, and I've said this before, bears repeating, the doctors told Kevin Stefanski, like the doctors told Pat Clueless Shurmur, that Colt McCoy is a fucking concussion. They told Kevin Stefanski he's hurt, he needs to sit. Even though Baker was playing worse and worse and worse. He was digging his hole. They put Case Keenum in Thursday Night Football against the Broncos. The Browns just went up and down the field. And I think Kevin Stefanski is like so many of these offensive, defensive coordinators, these lifers. They've been in the NFL a long time. They're not Bill Parcells. They're not Bill Walsh. They're not Dan Campbell, right?
Yep.
Okay, even Sean Payton. Look at Sean Payton. Onside kicks in the Super Bowl, right? You don't think Kevin Stefanski's going to do that. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let's just throw 20 passes. Let's just put everybody who can block is in there. Take Judy out. Put Jamari Schrash in. Put that other guy, Gage Larden. Is that how you pronounce it? Put him in. And why don't you actually walk the talk about smart, tough, accountable? Where is the accountability? Or is that just one of those mindless board of directors bullshit cliches that they pound out? And you know what? Speaking of cliches, I don't want to hear about how the wide receivers can't get separation. In the NFL, they play zone half the time.
And it's the coach's job to draw up plays that.
Right, rub routes. Jamar Chase, sorry. I don't see a whole lot of I saw a couple big-time separations, a week ago with him where he basically blew past that Lions cornerback. But there are teams that have problems with their O-line.
You know what was the one stat yesterday? And I almost took a photo of it, but I just totally forgot. The one stat that blew my mind, the one area yesterday the Browns had the most yards, wasn't rushing, wasn't passing, was penalties. Yeah. They had 25 penalty yards, 23 passing yards, and like 17 rushing yards. And, again, I'm going back to what I heard on the radio today, because it's always good to hear other Browns fans kind of feel their pain, because it's like, oh, great, it's not just me. But one guy said, I'm done hearing about the Haslam's are known for, hiring, firing. Look at all the coaches that they fired. Firing was the right call.
Right.
What's Freddie Kitchens doing? I think he's the offensive coordinator for UNC.
Yeah.
And that's going down the drain. Mike Pettin, after he got fired, said, you know what? I never want to be a head coach again. That's how bad it was. Hugh Jackson, I think he's writing his second book. Pat Shurmur, I don't know. Judd's not even in the league. So the firing is justified. What needs to change is the hiring.
Right.
That's what needs to change.
Right.
And I don't know who makes those calls in those rooms. I'm assuming at the end of it, someone says, Jimmy, here's our guy. Do you sign off?
Exactly. And you know what I keep saying is, where are the executive search committees for the NFL? If anybody could use an outside the box thinking with hiring a head coach with the Browns track record, and don't hire McKinsey, okay? McKinsey gets paid for basically blowing you. They'll tell you what you want to hear. I mean, CEOs will hire McKinsey because McKinsey will come back to the board and say, CEOs need to make more money, right? Okay, so you don't hire McKinsey. You get maybe some young street, outside the box executive recruitment company. Maybe we should do that, Brook. Maybe we should start executive recruitment for sports coaches, where we make them take a psychology test. We make them say, okay, let's take your scheme. Give me your scheme and paper. I'm going to take that piece of paper. I'm going to throw it in the garbage can. Okay, right now you're playing this team. Give me something different. Then that's the thing about the Browns, what really just rammed home. I don't mind them losing.
It's how they lose.
It's how they lose.
Yeah.
It's how they lose. It's just torture watching. Why don't you just put 9 guys, did Aiden Huntington in the backfield with Judkins, bench Judy, pick up some hustling, and, maybe now and then load up the box after Aiden Huntington flattens TJ White. TJ Watt a couple of times. So Watt's kind of looking over his shoulder now.
Yeah, like, oh shit.
Okay, roll the pocket out and just throw it long. Throw it long. Let you do that 5 or 6 times instead of dink and dunk. Right? You know what, Kevin? You're going to lose anyways, right? Why don't how about a trick play on a punt, right? How about stealing some plays from Kevin O'Connell? Throw it to Aiden Huntington. Nobody's covered him, right? Just bootleg, throw to Aiden Huntington, other side. What do you got to lose? Now at least the Browns, it's a little bit of a pickup, sandlot, touch football kind of atmosphere. And just go in there and say, guys, the lid's off. And guess what? When Carson Wentz has the ball, when Aaron Rodgers has the ball, doing dink and dunk, crowd the box, blitz 8 guys. Put him on his ass. Okay, they give up a touchdown. They're going to score a touchdown anyways, right?
Yeah.
But this time, there's a chance that you could get the quarterback hit. He could get rattled. He could fumble. He could throw it out there, it gets tipped at the line, and all of a sudden you got a pick 6. Start rolling the dice. Again, we're going to lose. And when Gabriel goes back, now he's got not a left tackle and a right tackle. He's got a left tackle with another guy blocking. He's got a right tackle with another. You're playing 4 tackles now. How about we do that?
Yeah.
Okay? And the definition of winning those games? I don't want Gabriel hurt. I don't want Gabriel knocked on his ass. Okay? Gabriel, you're going to have 8 guys blocking for you.
Yep.
8 guys. We are going to pound them. You get a safety blitz from cornerback on the sideline. You know who's waiting for him? Aiden Huntington. Okay, let's have some fun if we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Your thoughts, Brook?
Hey, let's stop here. We got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. Getting your house ready to sell, or you just need some basic repairs, and you can't get anybody to come out or even return your phone call. Then call Riley Painting and Contracting, your home mechanics, for all of your home repair needs, from electrical, plumbing, roof repairs, and getting your house ready to sell. 45 years in the business, a AAA on the Better Business Bureau, and we're on the preferred contractor list in Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights. You can contact us by calling 216-371-8160 and leave a message. And guess what? We'll call you back.
Did you see what the Thursday night game, what Cam Scatterby, the Giants?
Oh, love that team.
What he said after then beat the shit out of the
Eagles.
He's like, we're done. The losing culture here, we're done.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's like, I think the Browns are at a major crossroads heading into the end of this year. Because right now, you're picking number 2. You have the 7th pick. Jacksonville, who knows? Probably like a mid-first rounder.
Yeah.
But you got a couple of really highly touted quarterbacks coming out. And I think I forget who it was, but he said, there's something about a culture within a team.
Right.
Or sometimes the best thing to do when you've got a lot of draft picks and you got a class that you're drafting from that's really good, there's something about being like, everyone, you're fired, and you kind of start fresh.
I wouldn't necessarily fire. You know what? Andrew Berry, ? But again, I think this is the problem. And I'm not against analytics. Look at the Guardians.
So every football team now is doing.
Yeah, analytics is not, don't give me, the list of cliches. I don't want to hear about separation and we don't have wide receivers, and our O-line is hurt, right? And we got a rookie quarterback. Think about what you're saying. Mary Kay, Cleveland.com people.
What I'm saying,
But let me finish my point, because I'm going into your culture. When you start checking those boxes, you're giving yourself permission to lose. That's the mentality. Why not just come out and say, you know what? Our new culture is we are going to go down swinging. We are going to push the envelope here. We are not going to just mindlessly go through the motions with the same old checkbox. And there's a certain amount, sure, you got to know how to manage the clock. You need to, but you know what? If your offense, this has been going on for years with Kevin Stefanski with the O-line, they are always having motion penalties. And he always says, we got to coach better. I got something, if I was you, I'd say, if you don't change how you're coaching and they keep jumping off sides and they keep dropping the passes, you're fired. It's like being a foreman on a crew. You know, we have a contracting company. I don't blame the worker. I blame the foreman, right? I mean, how many times have you heard our foreman, our senior foreman, remember we'd say, how come this guy's not dressed properly? And you know what they say? Well, I keep talking to him. I keep telling him, I keep telling him, okay, well, you're incompetent then, right? I keep telling them not to illegal motion. I keep telling them we've been working on drop. Well, they keep dropping the passes. Why are they still playing? And that goes to coaching. You don't know how to coach. And I think what the problem is with the Browns, Kevin Stefanski got 2 Coach of the Year awards, and he's riding that. And the Haslams feel guilty about firing. Okay?
yeah, it's probably true.
And they feel guilty about firing, and they're not looking in the mirror, and they're not saying to themselves, and this is the final thought I want to make before we get to another coach, Bill Belichick. Again, we get to that executive recruitment. There has to be, ownership's job has to be teaching a head coach how to be a head coach.
Supporting them, yeah.
Supporting them comes with also being critical.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, yeah, that's what I meant.
And that's what's not happening. And the Browns suffer with their culture from the savior complex. Who's our number one? Baker was our savior. Deshaun was our savior. It's endless. We're always looking for, instead of organically changing the cultures, the losing culture here. No excuse. If you got O-line issues with injuries on a 17-game season, you better start running your offenses with 8 guys. You better start thinking outside the box of how we support our quarterback with protection. You don't have him throw 58 times getting knocked out his ass, right? That's a great way of ruining his psyche, right?
He's already psyched up. He's playing in Pittsburgh. Now people are telling him, hey, we haven't won here in let's 10 years.
Yeah. No, we're doing it differently. We're going into Pittsburgh. We're doing it differently. We're going to come out with a whole new approach that they've never seen before.
The only thing, my last point is, I think there is something really fresh and clean about cleaning house from the top down. If you're going into your draft with, hey, we got the number 1 pick, we're picking our quarterback. So that's the only thing I think of. The only thing I'm hesitant about to keep Andrew Berry, because I'll give him credit. His draft this year has looked really good.
Oh, yeah.
But I do not trust him or his team when it comes to be a quarterback.
Yeah. There's all big quarterback.
So I don't trust them picking, and I definitely don't trust whoever's going to be teaching that guy. And it stems from, obviously, because they didn't pick Baker. That was John Dorsey.
Yeah, Dorsey. What, Baker, the MVP? John Dorsey?
John Dorsey.
Yeah.
So Andrew Berry's quarterback track record has been DTR, Deshaun,
Right.
Dylan Gabriel, who I think's a good guy, but in the third round, Shador, I don't even know what they were doing there. Trading Joe Flacco, who I thought, you're basically just swapping the pick, but I thought the whole point was, hey, he can sit on the bench. Hey, Dylan, okay, let's talk about this, when you come back from getting your ass kicked by TJ Watt. I thought that was the whole point. So I don't trust whoever's picking the quarterback, and I definitely don't trust who's ever going to be developing.
Right. No, it's mindless. It's mindless. And I think, I got to give props to Andrew Berry. Look, the problem is, I think he had a great draft, best draft of the NFL. Finally had some picks to work with.
Him or the Giants.
Big question mark was who pushed Deshaun Watson? Okay. Was that Haslam? Because if Haslam pushed Watson with Paul D. Podesta,
he needs to kind of...
Berry was on the fence about Deshaun Watson. We got to keep Berry. But Kevin Stefanski, great family guy, nothing personal, but he has reached his Peter principle. He reached that with Baker. He's no Bill Parcells. He is going to be a journeyman coach. Okay, he's not Sean Payton. He's not Parcells. He's not Bill Walsh. The Browns desperately need, maybe I should contradict myself, they need a savior head coach.
They need a culture guy.
They need a culture guy. This is not a scheme guy.
No, I'm done with that. Mike Tomlin's not some second coming of, Bill Parcells. He is, but as a leader, you watch him, you're just like, holy shit, or like Dan Campbell.
Oh, Campbell.
I would run through a brick wall. I mean, just hearing his press conferences.
Yeah.
I don't need the Kyle Shanahan, unless like Sean McVay's like, hey, I went to John Carroll, I'd love to come back. Then yeah, sure. That's why I thought like Mike Vrabel. I'm thinking like,
oh my,
you've got him right here.
Right.
And that's why I kept saying like, that's a culture guy.
Right.
I mean, you see him on the sideline.
Patriots on the upswing.
Oh my God.
With Vrabel. I mean, okay, well, let's segue. Speaking of the coaches, Bill Belichick. Okay. And I'm going to jump on your great point, Brook, which is we fired a lot of bad coaches, right?
Yeah.
And Belichick got fired because people forget he was a terrible head coach. Terrible. People forget his drafts. Go look it up. Were terrible. He brought in a lot of guys from the Giants who were on their last legs. Pepper Johnson. The way he handled Bernie Kosar, all Kosar did was he got cut. They let him go. He goes to Dallas because Troy Aikman was hurt. Now he's going back to pass, and he might as well be in an armchair. Nobody's knocking his head off. I mean, Bill Belichick coined that famous phrase, some quarterback Phil Pot. I don't think you're probably, 6 years old? They got this guy, Phil Pot. They put him over Kosar and said he gives us the best chance of winning. Where have you heard that from? When you hear he gives us the best chance of winning.
It must be somewhere in Browns.
Is it the water in Berea? I mean, really, that is the kiss of death. It's kind of like I have total confidence in fill in the blank. Next day, they're fired. Okay. Belichick was terrible with the Browns. He goes to the Patriots. He has Bob Kraft, and he lucks out with Tom Brady. Okay. Paul Brown, the legendary sainted Paul Brown, he had Otto Graham. When Otto Graham retired, they never were in the NFL championship. They were a mediocre team, and they had Jim Brown. When they let Paul Brown go, I'm sorry, old Browns fans, they let Paul Brown go in 62. The only good thing Modell did, he brought in Bland Collier. In 63, the Browns were 6-0 because Glenn Collier adopted to the new NFL. There was option blocking. Jim Brown could pick his hole. All of a sudden, Jim Brown in one season went from 62 in like 950 yards to 1,600 yards. In 64, they drafted Paul Warfield. Leroy Kelly got drafted. They had a banner draft, and they won the championship. And then for the next 6-7 years, up till like 72 before Collier got hurt, they were in the hunt. They were a winning organization. They routinely beat the Steelers. Belichick had Tom Brady, and he had Bob Kraft. He had those two guardrails. Now he has no guardrails. And he brings in Mike Lombardi, who is...
He worked for us.
Yeah. Who is a total idiot. They've alienated the fan base in UNC. The parents are upset.
I honestly, I haven't been following a whole lot of the...
Oh, it's a major shit show. And, it just speaks to, look, I'm not going to anoint Bill Belichick as the greatest coach of all time. Okay? Bill Simmons is just, no. Bill Belichick was a great coach, but he had a great organization supporting him.
Well,
they had great drafts.
He lucked out with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and a great organization.
It's like...
They got Randy Moss for Tom Brady. They were picking up players. He had Rovio on defense, who was a great defensive coordinator. Yeah, you know what? But think about, there has not been one assistant coach coming out of the Patriots that has been a great head coach.
Except
Vrabel. He was never a head coach, but never assistant coach. He was a linebacker. Okay?
Okay.
Not one. But then you look at the Bill Walsh tree. Unbelievable. Who came out of the Bill Walsh tree? Andy Reid. Look at Bill Parcells' tree. Sean Payton.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Even Belichick, came out of the Bill Parcells' tree.
You got the Dolphins.
Oh, that'll be...
If they lose that game...
He's gone.
That's it, I think so.
If they score 9 points against a woeful...
In Cleveland.
And
you got the Patriots, who... They're good. They're not great.
Yeah.
They're good.
Well, I think the clock is definitely ticking, and I think Jim Schwartz is probably going to be stepping up. And maybe Jim Schwartz will be like Greg Williams.
Yeah,
and you'll get who will be the offensive coordinator?
You got that kid, Tommy Reese.
Yeah,
I think he's the current.
And I'm hoping Jim Schwartz is going to light a fire. He's going to sit Judy down. He's going to bench players that aren't producing. He's going to, hey.
I just keep going back to this whole time ever since, and this is for me. My whole thing has been for the Browns, I want my quarterback. I want my Justin Herbert. I want my Joe Burrow. I want my guy. I want my Josh Allen.
Got to have an organization.
And this is what makes it sting so much worse, is you had him. You had the perfect guy for your team. Chip on the shoulder, walk on.
Natural born leader.
Dick swinging, gun slinging. And yeah, he had a rough patch. He should have sat down. He should have gotten his surgery. And now he's probably going to be the MVP.
Right.
And you know what? I saw Baker on the Travis Kelce, the podcast. They're Cleveland boys.
Yeah.
They're Browns fans. They're like, do you ever think about what the Browns should do and he's like, that's not my fucking problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think what magnifies this situation even worse for me is seeing the success that Baker's having in Tampa. That's what makes this so much worse.
Right. Well, but then I got one more thing for you, which is look at Green Bay. Green Bay went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Love. Yeah. Right? They have a culture that develops quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just like Pittsburgh has a culture that develops linebackers. Just like the Guardians, Indians/Guardians, they're like pitchers youth. There's no culture in the Browns organization that knows how to develop quarterbacks. So again, we kind of default. Look at what is the point? You could get fucking Peyton Manning drafted, and the Browns would ruin them.
With the current system.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're ruining Dylan Gabriel. God forbid Shador. I mean, he may have some talent. I think his dad is praying that they don't put him in with the Stefanski offense. That'll have him throw 60 times with no line, no chip blocking, no Aiden Huntington as his personal bodyguard back there. With that culture of losing. I mean, that's the thing about primetime. Dion, when he came to Colorado last year, he had Shador,
Travis Hunter.
There was a culture change, like Dan Campbell, like Sean Payton. Sean Payton came in, and the first thing he did was bench. He made Russell Wilson's life miserable.
Yeah.
He took away his private office. You know what? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, do you see Stefanski doing that? He's got OBJ. OBJ basically sticking a knife in Baker's back, and Stefanski does nothing. He's got Clowney acting up on the sidelines, not wanting to go in. Stefanski does nothing, right?
Okay.
There is no accountability. To me, it's when is Juice Schwartz getting in the seat? It's taken me years to get to this point. But you're absolutely right. I'll end on this note, Brook. You hit the nail on the head. You should not be afraid of firing a bad coach and changing the culture. Focus on the culture. Walk the talk of accountability. Okay?
Yep.
And we'll end on that note. Lots to talk about next week. Thanks, everybody. Okay. It was good.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Cleveland Browns Anonymous podcast with Mike Riley. We have a lot more content on the way as we get this new podcast started. You can also check out some of our other podcasts like the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast and other new ones that will start soon. On any platform that you find yourself listening to us on, feel free to leave us a like or comment or follow us. It always helps.